What's going on, guys? Today I'm back with another hat format replay review for you guys. If you're interested in sending in your hat format replays, you can go down to the video description and find all the information on how to go about sending those in. Anyways, the match I have for you today, we have Scenic, who is going to be on Karakuri OTK, versus W.J. Keating, who is going to be on, I believe, Gem Knight Artifact. So this should be a very interesting matchup, and hopefully it'll be a good one. Lately, every time I've gone over a Karakuri OTK replay, it's been a little questionable, and then obviously, like, Gem Knight Artifact is kind of more of a rogue strategy more than the Karakuri deck, so, it'll be very interesting to see, how they choose to play their deck and stuff like that, but that's the fun in these, so let's get straight into it. Here we will see Scenic win the Rock, Paper, Scissors, which is very important for the Karakuri deck. Opening hands, we see Instant Fusion, Solar Windjammer, Cash, Instant Fusion, and Solar Windjammer. So not quite the hand you want to see. It's very close to being a good hand, but they do need some form of Karakuri monster to actually get this live, preferably one of the level 3 tuners, if I had to guess, or at least in my opinion here. And on the other side, we see Beagletak, Call the Haunted, Gem Knight Fusion, Tourmaline, and Soul Charge. So here Scenic will get a draw for turn, getting a copy of Merchant, so not really the strongest draw, but they can at least make an attempt here, and so they are going to special Solar Windjammer, normal summon the Merchant, adding a copy of Ninishi. That card would have been so good in this hand. It would have basically given them full combo, but minimally they will have a turn 2 play, hopefully. After that, they're going to activate Cash, switching the Merchant to, Merchant to defense, and adding a copy of Hypa. We actually don't really see this one that often. From time to time, it pops up in some of the kind of obscure Karakuri Mecha Phantom Beast combo decks. This one says this card must attack if able, much like any of the other Karakuris, and when this face-up attack position card is selected as an attack target, change it to defense position. If this card attacks, it's changed to defense position at the end of the battle phase. The big thing is it is a 2100 normal summon, which is pretty big there. But anyways, here they are adding the Hype and just passing it over. Here, WJ gets, or I guess I'll just call them Keating, gets a copy of Ignition, which is a very good draw here, especially given they already have Beagletak and Call the Haunted for that matter. Here they are just going to set 3 pack over to Scenic, who gets a copy of Machina Fortress. Interesting to see this card in this deck, but it definitely makes sense when this deck usually plays a lot of things to be able to get your things out of graveyard, for example, Soul Charge, Iron Call, and cards of those sorts. But now, for the most part, as long as they don't get Scythe, they should be able to kind of play quite a bit here. They're going to normal summon the Ninishi, but maybe Keating actually knows how to play against this deck a little bit, going for the Ignition right away to set a copy of Moraltak. After that, the Beagletak will be able to summon back, popping the Moraltak can then trigger to pop the Ninishi, and unlike, for example, Evil Swarm Caster or anything like that, this card actually does have to be on the field to gain that additional normal summon, so that actually plays really well against that here. And so now it looks like Scenic is going to discard the copy of Fortress and Jammer to summon back the Fortress, just to, kind of apply some pressure, attacking over that copy of Moraltak. And going to the end phase here, Call the Haunted is going to trigger, though, being able to summon back the Moraltak. Moraltak is going to pop the copy of Solar Windjammer over to Keating, who gets a copy of Thunder Dragon. So now they do have access to their Gem Knight plays, discarding the copy of Thunder Dragon, and it looks like they're lagging a little bit, to add a 2 copies of Thunder Dragon here. From here, they can go Gem Knight Fusion, getting rid of a Thunder Dragon and the Tourmaline to go for a copy of Prismara. Really cool card. This says must first be Fusion summoned. Obviously, it needs a Gem Knight and a Thunder type monster, and once per turn, you can send 1 Gem Knight card from your hand to the graveyard to target 1 face-up card on the field and destroy that target. After that, I believe they misclicked there, which they did. They are activating the Gem Knight Fusion, which has the grave effect to, if this card's in your graveyard, banish 1 Gem Knight monster from your graveyard, add this card to your hand. So here they are banishing that Tourmaline to be able to add the Fusion back to hand, which they are doing, and then they are activating the copy of Prismara, being able to send the Gem Knight Fusion from hand to grave to be able to pop the Merchant here. After that, they are going to think they're going to overlay for a copy of Volcasaurus, using the effect to pop the fortress. The fortress is then going to be able to, it discards a card. If this card is destroyed by, nope, not the battle one, the targeting one. Where is it? Before resolving an opponent's monster effect that targets this face-up card, look at your opponent's hand and discard one random card from their hand. So obviously discarding that extra Thunder Dragon here is really good. Obviously they had set the Soul Charge preemptively so that they would be able to out this, and then being able to do 25 damage. After that, going for a Gaia Dragon and just going to battle phase and cleaning this up very well for the most part, doing a lot of damage, leaving them on Better Have It. Here, Scenic gets another copy of Machina Fortress. Here, they're going to go for it. After that, just going to battle phase and running over that Prismara, doing just a little bit of damage, but this isn't going to be good enough. Here, Keating gets a copy of Ignition, and it might actually hold them off for a little bit. Here, the Soul Charge is going to trigger, and Scenic knows that it's just over there. So moving on into game number 2, hopefully they can, open a little better here, which looking at this hand, it is slightly better. They do have, some plays they can do. Opening hands, we see Machina Fortress, Solar Windjammer, Strategist, Soul Charge, and the Hypa. And on the other side, we see Thunder Dragon, Garnet, Volcanic Shell, Phoenix Wing Windblast, and Gem Knight Fusion. So a lot more Gem Knight plays are possible with this hand here. And also for Scenic, they will get a draw for turn here, getting the copy of Max C, which will be pretty solid, but they do have, access to their level 8 Synchro, so let's see how they play this one out. Special summoning that Solar Windjammer, going for the Strategist, switching itself to defense, then summoning a copy of Barredo, being able to special summon the Ninishi from deck, which will give them an additional normal summon, being able to summon that Hypa. Here going for the 7s, going for the Beret. From here, they're going to go for the Strategist, switching itself to defense again. After that, Barredo will draw a card, so here Cena can get a copy of DD Crow. After that, synchroing for a copy of Leo, so pretty decent if they had really wanted to, depending on how their extra deck looks. They could have even maybe gone for an early Soul Charge play, being able to, for example, go for another 8 or something and start going into, say, a Felgran play or something like that. Or if they're on, say, Mechwhip Engineer, they could have gone for an 8 play and a Mechwhip Engineer because they do have multiple 3s in grave, and that way they would just have, complete access. Obviously, at that rate, it would cost them, 2,000 to 3,000 life points, but you don't really care if you can just kind of blow out your opponent, especially when you already have Maxi and Crow as follow-up for the opponent's turn. Here, though, Keating does get a copy of Sanctum for turn, which is a very strong draw. They're going to start, though, with the Thunder Dragon to add 2 more copies of Thunder Dragon here. After that, they are going to go for the Gem Knight Fusion, which is going to be chained to with the Max C. Here they got rid of the Thunder Dragon, and I'm guessing it's going to have to be that copy of Garnet here. Going for that Prismara again. Here Scenic gets a copy of the Merchant. After that, they are going to activate the Gem Knight Fusion, banishing the Garnet, and that is going to be met with Crow to banish the Fusion here, which let me just see if this is like the Gishki one. If this card's in your graveyard, you can banish one Gem Knight monster from your graveyard, so it does banish as cost to then add. So this will be able to kind of get rid of 2 resources out of Keating's grave, which it is going to do. After that, it looks like they're just going to set 2 over to Scenic, who now gets another copy of Soul Charge. They're going to normal summon the Merchant, adding a copy of Cash here. After that, activating the Cash, but it looks like they are going to chain it to the chain it to the Cash here. And Moral Attack is summoned, the Cash will resolve, adding a copy of Ninishi, and then on a new chain, this Moral Attack will then trigger, which it is going to do, and here they are popping the Leo, and the Beret is also triggering because the position was chained here. This should work, I believe, when it is changed. Yeah, it's mandatory regardless. So here, obviously, Moral Attack doesn't target, so they are able to pop the Leo here, and here Scenic does draw into a copy of Iron Call, which is a very strong draw here, and let's see, they are going to go Iron Call on the Strategist, bringing it back. After that, synchroing for a 5, going for a copy of Natria Beast, which can at bare minimum walk over the Moral Attack. Obviously, the Barredo is attempting to get over the Prismara first. The copy of Wing Blast is chained though, and discarding that shell, which will be very good to get more resources, and the Burrito goes back to extra deck, and then the Beast can just walk over the copy of Moral Attack there. Scenic is really holding out on these copies of Soul Charge, and hopefully it doesn't bite them. Obviously, they couldn't activate it that turn because they went to battle phase, but just in general, you know, if they start getting too much pressure, they're going to get too low on life and won't be able to come back. Luckily, though, Keating did draw a copy of Shell here for them at least, so that isn't the greatest draw. Here they are going to activate the Shell in Graveyard, paying 500 life points and adding another copy of Shell from deck to hand. So that is all 3 copies out now. So from here, they are just going to go to battle phase, run over the Nat Beast, and then set one of those shells over to Scenic, who unfortunately gets the NAWCQ. This is the brick, but it's kind of mandatory. At bare minimum, you know, they have plays with the Ninishi if they really wanted to just summon it, or they can just discard it with the Fortress in order to summon that. And so let's see what they do. Here, taking a while to think, they are going to do what I had mentioned and go for the Fortress here, which can at bare minimum run over the Prismara. Next, they are going to go for Soul Charge, and let's see what they're bringing back, going for the Beret, Nat Beast, and the NAWCQ. Very interesting choices there. After that, they're going to normal summon the Ninishi and Synchro for 8, going for a Stardust, okay, and then going with both 7s into a copy of Draco Sack. Detaching the Beret there is a little weird, because I feel like if they drew into another like big machine or something like that, or just over time, you might want the Fortress in grave. Though I guess if they're not having the resources right away, maybe they don't want to run into an opposing DD Crow or something and lose that. So keeping it under there, I guess, is an option. It just feels a little strange in most cases, especially given we haven't really seen much like that. Like at bare minimum, they might Wing Blast it back or something. But let's keep going and see what actually happens here. Oh, it looks like they actually weren't done with their turn. Why did they draw here? Did they get max seed? No, they didn't. Maybe they're just trying to see if they should scoop it up here, which they are going to scoop it up. Okay, so moving on into game number 3. Okay, so surprisingly, a bit of a back and forth here. Keating will get to start this one out, which is very good for, you know, any type of artifact deck. Opening hands, we see double Solar Windjammer, DD Crow, Machina Fortress, and the Ninishi. So not the strongest hand, but at bare minimum, they can do several plays. And on the other side, we see Maxi, Thunder Dragon, Call the Haunted, Artifact Sanctum, and Compulse. Again, not really the strongest, but obviously having the Call the Haunted with Thunder Dragon is actually very interesting, as well as having the Sanctum backed up with stuff like Max C against the combo deck, and the Compulse is actually really good. And here they do get a draw, getting another copy of Sanctum, and they're going to start out with that Thunder Dragon, getting 2 copies of Thunder Dragon here. And after that, they're just going to set 4 back row over to Scenic, who now gets a copy of Nisipachi, the Strategist, which is very good here. Specialing the Windjammer, normal summoning the copy of Ninishi. Max C is going to be chained to that. Will they play into it? Additional summoning that Strategist, switching to defense, going for the Beret here. It looks like Warning is drawn for Keating, and the Burrito is going to special the NAWCQ. Here, Keating gets a copy of Gem Knight Fusion. Very good. And just going to battle phase, Sanctum is going to be chained, though, summoning a copy of Moral Attack. Moral Attack is going to trigger, and it's going to go after that copy of NAWCQ here, which here, after that, Burrito is going to attack in. Compulse is going to meet that. And this now is looking really bad. Whenever you like kind of take like a few draws, or let your opponent draw a few draws into Max C, and then your board just gets wrecked by back row, it never feels good. So here, Keating is going to get a copy of Ignition for turn, activate Call the Haunted, bringing back that Thunder Dragon, so now they can go for a Pleiades or something, which they are going to do, which can always bounce back that Call the Haunted. Oh, interesting that they're even thinking on this. Oh, no, they are bouncing the Call of the Haunted, and then they're going to battle phase, running over the copy of the Nisipachi, the Strategist, which also has the ability that when this face-up attack position card is selected as an attack target, it's changed to defense. So that's why they kind of declared that there, and it's showing that they aren't taking damages for that reason. But anyways, here, just setting some back row over to Scenic, who now gets a copy of Max C, and they're just going to pass there, hoping they survive. Gem Knight Fusion, getting rid of the Thunder Dragon, and the Garnet. Max C is chained, Prismara is summoned, drawing into a copy of Hypa, using the Gem Knight Fusion, banishing Garnet to add back the Fusion, going to battle phase, swinging in for a lot of damage. It doesn't look like Scenic is going to take this one. Getting a cash is decent, but not into this much back row, honestly. Going for the copy of Fortress, and Sanctum's going to be chained to that in battle phase, and Scenic unfortunately doesn't get the chance to really do too much in that game. But really cool to honestly see WJ Keating pilot this, Gem Knight artifact deck. Very interesting take on the deck. We've definitely seen like Thunder Dragon and the Volcanic Shell in the Gem Knight deck, but, kind of getting to fully see it do its thing is, it's always fun to see. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like on it, comment any questions or videos you want to see in the future, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to get notified anytime I put a new video out, share this video with your friends, and don't forget to go down to the video description to find out how you can send in your hat format replays. Whether you won or lost, if you thought the deck you or your opponent was playing was pretty cool, feel free to send it in. I'm sure a lot of people would love to see that. But anyways, guys, I will see you in the next video.